just like that, out before he hit the canvas.
Ruben looking comfortable. Oh, what a shot.
Interested in engaging right now. Now he waits. Gets nailed again. He drops him on his nose. And Kenny Baylor doesn't bother to count. He's knocked out. Again, a big shot by Crawford.
Moins de 10 secondes à faire au premier. Camacho est déjà écorché. Oh!
Il l'a assommé! Il est assommé!
Il est assommé!
Looks like he's starting to slowly break down Harold Reyes. Two big uppercuts and a hard left, and down goes Reyes. He got spun around, and this fight is over.
Still going to be bigger tests to come this year. Yeah.
Recently, deaths in the ring, unfortunately, have become an integral part of professional boxing. Similar tragedies have happened before, but today, because of the high fees and the opportunity to put their name in boxing history, fighters step into the ring despite feeling unwell and against doctor's orders. In this article, we have collected the most recent and resonant deaths caused by injuries received in a fight. 27-year-old middleweight fighter Patrick Day was fighting on the undercard of Ukrainian heavyweight Alexander Usyk on the night of October 12-13 in Chicago. He was fighting Charles Conwell for the regional title according to the USBA. No one could have predicted how the drama would unfold in the end. Day was knocked down twice, and in the 10th round, Conwell knocked him out cold. Day was carried out of the ring on a stretcher in an unconscious state, after which he fell into a coma. Doctors performed emergency brain surgery, which unfortunately did not prevent a fatal outcome. Russian boxer Maxim Dadashev fought a qualifying IBF bout in the United States against Puerto Rican fighter Subriel Matias in July, but took too many hits in the 11th round and his team decided to stop the fight. After suffering his first defeat in his career, the 28-year-old fighter lost consciousness on his way to the locker room and was taken to the hospital with suspected brain swelling. He underwent a craniotomy and was put in a medically induced coma, but could not be saved. Later, the boxer's widow said, "The doctor said, he's going to die now. They put a chair for me. I saw his last breath." Elizabeth also blamed the referee in the ring for the tragedy. The referee never even came close to Max, despite the number of blows he missed, did not call a doctor to check him in the corner. "The referee's negligence and unprofessionalism cost my husband's life." Matias was also deeply shaken by what happened and refused the $75,000 purse for the fight. In November 2018, 49-year-old Christian Daggio, who was not ready to say goodbye to boxing, died from head injuries sustained in a fight for the Silver Asian Champion title with Thai fighter Don Peruang. In the notes of the judges, the Italian was leading by the 12th round, but after a series of blows to the head, he was knocked down and then knocked out. The referee immediately called the doctors into the ring, but Christian had already lost consciousness. On the way to the hospital, Daggio fell into a coma, spent several days in intensive care, and died without regaining consciousness. Christian's brother later noted that he left the way he always dreamed, although he wanted to keep fighting until he was 80. The boxing ring was his life, and he died as a champion. One of the recent tragedies that occurred due to the boxer's own fault. The 10-round fight for the WBC Latino Silver Championship title with the best Uruguayan fighter Eduardo Abreu ended in a draw and with the Argentinian boxer Hugo Santillan's face covered in blood. And already, while waiting for the referee's verdict, Hugo lost consciousness in the ring. Doctors discovered a blood clot in the boxer's brain and performed surgery, but after 2 heart and breathing stops, Hugo died. It turned out that Santillan agreed to a deadly match, despite being advised by doctors not to box for 45 days. The quarantine countdown began from the moment when the Argentinian finished his last 10-round fight against German Artem Aratunian on June 15, in which he took too many hits. The German Boxing Federation even temporarily withdrew Santillan's license and banned him from participating in tournaments in Europe to protect his health. But the young man stepped into the ring in America. On September 29, 2016 in Glasgow, undefeated Scottish boxer Mike Toll lost to Dale Evans in his 13th fight. Toll was knocked down in the first round, and in the 5th, after Evans landed a left hook, he had trouble breathing and the referee stopped the fight. Toll was carried out of the ring on a stretcher and immediately taken to the hospital, where he was put on a ventilator. However, due to bleeding, he suffered from brain swelling. Nevertheless, Toll fought for another 12 hours after being disconnected from life support. In the UK, The tragedy is attributed to the fact that previously unbeaten Toll and his corner were unable to fully assess the damage done to Mike after the first knockdown. Toll and his corner decided to continue the fight, exacerbating the situation. Toll's wife said that in the last few weeks, he had complained of headaches and added, "My child has lost his father. But he will be so proud of his daddy in what he achieved." In February 2018, the career of 31-year-old British light heavyweight boxer Scott Westgarth came to an end. His career is notable for the fact that he came to boxing very late, at the age of 24, but quickly climbed the rankings. After being knocked down, he still won a fight against Dex Spellman by a decision of the judges, but then collapsed, losing consciousness, and was taken to the hospital with suspected brain bleeding. Scott died the following day without regaining consciousness. But his death extended the lives of 7 others. As the boxer's mother recounted, he secretly added himself to the donor list, and after his death, his organs were transplanted to 7 people. He helped right up to the end. Scott was so kind, happy, and brave. I want people to remember him not only as a boxer, but as a person. In November 2017, Salvadoran prospect Francisco Reyes, just in his 4th pro fight, faced compatriot Ricardo Cortez. It was Ruiz's first 8-round fight, which turned out to be his last as he died due to a knockout during the bout. In the 8th round, the young fighter, who had debuted in the pros only 6 months earlier, took a powerful blow and fell, hitting his head hard. Reyes underwent a complex brain surgery, but never woke up from a coma. After a few days, his family decided to disconnect Reyes from life support. It turned out that Francisco also owned a motorcycle repair shop, torn between his passion for sports and motorcycles. Prior to a string of tragedies in recent years, the most resonant was the death of 23-year-old Korean Kim Duk-koo in 1982. Just days before his 15-round bout in the United States with WBA lightweight world champion Ray Mancini, he wrote on his hotel room mirror in Las Vegas, "Live or die." As if predicting what was to happen in the ring. In the 14th round of the fight, Kim took a powerful blow and hit his head when he fell. He tried to get up, but the referee stopped the fight. In the locker room, Kim fell into a coma, and doctors at the hospital discovered a subdural hematoma. Unfortunately, the surgery did not help. Referee Richard Green, who felt responsible for the outcome of the fight, committed suicide in 1983, and Kim's mother took her own life 4 months after losing her son. Mancini, for some time, didn't want to enter the ring and lost his carefree attitude. Boxing organizations decided to review the rules, shortening the duration of bouts from 15 to 12 rounds. The Panamanian WBO super flyweight world champion Pedro Alcazar set a peculiar tragic record after his death. On June 22, 2002, he defended his title against Mexican puncher Fernando Montiel. As it was later noted, Pedro was somewhat sluggish and lacked his usual vigor. With each round, Alcazar missed more and more punches, and in the 6th round, he hung on the ropes. Nevertheless, the Panamanian not only left the ring but also the arena on his own, already thinking about soon regaining the title. Only a day after the fight, when Pedro was already preparing to leave Las Vegas, he lost consciousness while taking a shower in his hotel room. All attempts to save him were in vain. Alcazar died 36 hours after the end of the fight. This is the longest period in boxing history when a boxer experienced bleeding in the brain after a fight. Among those who carried the boxing with the coffin at the funeral was another legendary Panamanian, world champion in several weight categories, Roberto Duran. And last on the list is the deadly fight that once shook millions and took boxing off the screens for 10 years. On March 24, 1962, at the legendary Madison Square Garden Arena, Emil Griffith and Benny Paret fought their third match, determining the world champion in the welterweight division. Cuban Paret, who held the title at the time, nearly ended the fight in the 6th round, but the American was saved by the bell. As a result, the fight went on to the 12th round, where Griffith, seizing the moment, cornered his opponent and delivered almost 30 blows without resistance. Only over a minute later did the referee intervene in this beating. By this time, the 25-year-old Paret was already unconscious, and he was carried out of the ring on a stretcher. The Cuban was immediately taken to the hospital from the arena, but the athlete had already fallen into a deep coma, from which he did not wake up, despite 10 attempts to save his life. "10 days later, the Cuban's heart stopped. Several million people witnessed the tragedy at Madison Square Garden through television broadcast. The last seconds of the fight were repeatedly played, which caused dissatisfaction in society, as children were watching this violence. There was a demand to remove this beating from the screens, and for the next 10 years, boxing was not broadcast live in America. The judge of this fight did not dare to judge boxing again,